and welcome back to the Building Your Brand podcast. I can't believe that we are back for 2024, and I've decided that every now and then I want to shake things up a little bit. So I'm starting the year with a little mini series with my good friend Hannah Isted, who is going to be joining me for the next 4 weeks, and we're going to be talking about some fun topics. I actually got people to vote on my Instagram stories about which topics they wanted to start. Well, they wanted us to cover. And today we are starting with our goals for 2024. Now, obviously, we are recording before the new year. So we've had to think about what our goals are. And hey, Hannah, thanks for joining me.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I know. Yeah, that feels really weird.
It does.
I'm like confused now about what's going on. Okay, so we're going to talk about what our goals are. We actually have spent time working out our goals in previous years together, which has been really nice. So it'll be fun to chat through it on the podcast. Before we start that, I had a question from a lovely client of mine called Rebecca, who messaged me and was like, I want to hear what your goals are, but I also want to hear how you come up with your goals, which I thought was a really good question, one I don't have a good answer for. But what do you think? Like, have you got a particular process for coming up with your goals?
So you don't have an answer, so you're giving it to me.
Yeah, basically, can you answer?
Instead.
No, I'm sure I'll think of something while you're talking.
So in the Best 90 Days Ever, we always do goal setting at the start of each of the 3 months. And what we do is for the start of the year, I usually have a word of the year. So for last year, my word was bold. And I really liked that word, actually. I felt like that did represent quite a lot of the year. And then I tried to come up with 3 goals and then break those down into little action steps. So the way that I come up with those goals, I suppose, is to think about where I want to be in like a year's time, maybe even in 5 years' time, and what goals I can try to aim for that are going to help me get there. And I know we were speaking before we started about how often other things will come up and you achieve those instead. And I think like last year, I got the book deal, which was not even on my radar at all. And that did kind of alter my goals and where I thought I was going to be going. But actually, it still fitted in with what I wanted to do because my overall goals were just, move my business forward, keep promoting myself. And the book fits in with that as well.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I think that is a good point, is that like you almost have much bigger general goals.
Yes.
And then it's like you have, because I felt a bit stressed about talking about this because I feel like I make goals and then I end up doing something. I do achieve them and I need to be better at looking back and being like, oh, actually, I did achieve that.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes things come up that I just could not have predicted or expected. Yeah. And then, like you say, my goals change. And so, but it makes me feel a bit self-conscious about sharing them publicly because I feel like everyone's going to hold me to them. And then what if something else comes out and I end up doing something differently? But I think that's a really good example. Like if you've got your overall goal for your business, which like in really real general terms is going to be like to grow it and to, I mean, not necessarily monetarily, it might not be that, but to move your business forward, that's going to be like your general goal. And then I guess you have your word of the year, like nice to have that as something to inspire what your goals might be. So it's like if your word's bold, well, what are 3 goals that you can come up with that are actually going to embody bold for the year?
And if your word was like rest, then
your goals are going to look different.
They're going to look different to that, So you're going to be making decisions that are aiming towards that word of the year. So you're going to be aiming for more restful decisions for you.
Yeah.
And if things happen, so there's a phrase in kind of like the manifesting community and it's this or something better.
Oh, nice.
And I love it because I think even when sometimes things go wrong, like we put an offer in on a house, for example, and didn't get it, but we got a better house in the end. And there's always like something better, I think, that will come along in the end. And I think that can be true for your goals as well. So you might not have achieved the goal that you set out to achieve at the start of the year, but maybe you have achieved something that is better suited to your business where you're at now instead.
Yeah, totally. And I do think that sometimes, like I think back of some of the things that have happened. So for example, doing a virtual talk at Adobe Max, like I would never have put that on my goals list, but it like just happened. It just came about. And I think sometimes we don't really know what the options are or what the possibilities are to put them on our goals list. And so I think you do really have to hold your goals flexibly and know that, like you said, something better might come along. Like you have to be ready to sort of accept opportunities that come your way that maybe you could never even have dreamed of.
Yeah, and I think there's the two different types of goals, isn't there? There's like really specific goals that you can have, and then there's more vague goals. And so with the vague goals, you're kind of saying, I'm opening myself up to any opportunities, like doing a virtual talk at Adobe Max. So you're ready to like say yes to those throughout the year. And then you might have specific ones. So for me, it was I wanted to get 100 members in the best 90 days ever, and I did that. And that's a specific number, and that might look like an income goal for you or an email subscriber goal for you. So there are different types of goals, I think, that you can have.
Yeah.
But do you know what your actual goals are for next year?
I've written them down.
Have you? Okay.
But I have written them down, and I'm going to share them. Okay. But I do feel like I massively need to caveat that don't hold me to them. They might not happen, because I think I am definitely the sort of person that how I feel about things changes pretty regularly and often. And I am not the sort of person that's just going to do something because I said it was my goal. Like, if I don't want to do it anymore and something different comes along, I'm going to pursue that. Yeah. So no one's allowed to hold me to any of these goals.
You're allowed to change your mind. That's the thing. It's your business. Yeah. If you set a goal now and you don't want to do it come the summer next year, then set a different goal. Change your mind. Do something different. Like, that is why we're self-employed.
Before we share our goals, you were talking about the process of the goal setting in the best 90 days. And I think one of the things that you do that is really good is, so people pick their 3 goals. Again, I think 3 is a really good number because that's actually something that's achievable. I think you could make I think there's a place for making a long list of all the goals. Yeah. But I think my problem is I put too many things on my to-do list, and actually let's make it realistic. Yeah. But then the other thing that you get everyone to do is to break each goal into 10 like action steps. And I find that process really helpful, because I am definitely like let's just pluck this massive goal out of, wherever. And then it's like, well, great, it sounds good, but how am I actually going to get there? And the process of like being made to break it into 10 steps is really helpful.
And they're like the tiniest steps that you can't talk yourself out of. Yeah. Because like you say, you set a massive goal, it feels really overwhelming, and you don't even know where to start with it. Yeah. So then you get to the end of the year and you haven't made any progress on that goal. But if you can just think, okay, the tiniest goal is that I just write the first draft of an email to pitch for this opportunity that I want, or something like that. Or I find out the person who I need to email to contact them to ask if I can be on their podcast. And then you start to make the progress, because each goal feels achievable and it feels like something you could do today or this week, or, it fits in with the rest of your business.
And I do think that the cycle, this isn't meant to become a big promo for the best 90 days, although that's fine.
It always is.
It always is, yeah. But I do think actually coming up with goals at different points in the year is a good idea, because actually coming up with goals for the whole year, that feels like such a long amount of time and it feels overwhelming. Whereas if you're like, come up with a few goals for the next 3 months, and then I know that I can pick new ones, and actually I have achieved the goals that I've set in the best 90 days, not always in the quarter that I said I was going to do them, but some of them I like move over, but I have been getting them done. And so then actually, I think for my brain anyway, that helps me to have like check-ins at like 4 different points in the year, or 3 different points, and be able to set new goals. And then I can sort of like correct the core. If things are going in a different direction, then I can tweak things as I go.
Yeah. A lot of people don't even like setting goals in the new year. They'll set them in September, where it's like the academic year, and that feels better. And spoiler alert for one of my goals, I'm starting it now, because it's my like next year goal, but I want to get a little head start on it. I don't want to sit here for the next like 6 weeks and think that is my goal, but I'm just going to leave it until January. Like, why? What's the point? Totally. I'm keen.
I do think that like sometimes we get fixated in our head with just like arbitrary dates, not arbitrary, but like as in exactly who you can start your goal anytime. It's not like you're only allowed to set a goal on at the beginning of January. And I actually find myself wanting to start thinking, like, I do love the whole, some people don't, and that's totally fine. I really find the new year, set new goals thing quite invigorating, but I do start thinking about them a couple of months before. Because I think, like you said, it just helps me. So I like time to like mull it over and to think about how I'm going to do it, so that I can sort of hit the ground running in January. Okay, tell me one of your goals.
I mean, I've only got one goal.
You've only got one? Oh my goodness!
I'm sure 5. I can think of some more, but okay. So my main goal is to promote the book next year.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that actually has a lot of strands coming off of it. So the main goal, the
Sub
overall goal,
goals.
sub goals.
Tell us
The
your
main goal is to
sub-goals.
promote the book. I guess the sub goal is I want to do a lot more public speaking next
Mhm.
year. So I want to be on more podcasts like this. I want to have more people on my podcast. I want to be on panels. I want to go to events. Like all of that really good stuff. I want to put myself forward for opportunities.
Be more visible.
Be more visible, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to be ready for them. So I
Okay.
want to feel like I feel confident and I
Yeah.
know what I'm talking
You're not
about.
scrambling once you've signed up for something. You're going
No.
in like really intentionally
Yeah.
and like prepared.
And
I
knowing
like
that the stuff that I'm talking about is good and it's useful and it's going to help me promote the book as well. So yeah, that's probably my main goal for next year. And a lot of my other goals are to allow me to be able to do that. So
Okay.
I kind of want to reduce client work, maybe have like work more on my digital products. Yeah, so they're kind of funneling into that goal basically.
I actually love that there's like one that just feels like mentally it feels easier. You know, like you've got one big goal and then you've got a bit of a strategy of sub goals around it to make that achievable. With the public speaking, is the public speaking all about promoting the book or is it just about raising your profile in general? I mean, I guess you can't really separate the two, can you?
Yeah, I feel like I would, if I'm going to be doing public speaking, I'm probably going to be talking about marketing or productivity or something like 10-minute timers, anything like that. So the book is going to get mentioned regardless.
Very naturally.
Yeah, so I think, they're not going to be talks that are like, here's my book, buy it.
Yeah. That sounds like a bad talk.
It does, yeah. But I think that will naturally like be a topic that I'm talking about. So, and also I think, like you're saying about having one goal, it's nice because I know that next year I can think to myself, if I do this, is it working towards my main goal? Like if I say yes to this opportunity, is it going to help me with that goal? If I say yes to this, am I actually saying no to something else that would be better? So yeah, I think.
Have you worked out your word for next year?
I haven't
even thought about mine, so no worries.
Okay. I was kind of like thinking about brave, but I'm not really sure if brave is like the right one. I don't want to be I don't want it to be visible. It's going to be something along like bold, visible, brave.
Yeah, I feel like brave is good because you're going to have to push yourself forward, sort of not in a horrible way, but like out of your comfort zone a bit to do like way more public speaking and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like the word is kind of like next level. Do you know what I mean? If anyone can think of a word that means like next level in one word.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the next step of my business.
And yeah, message Hannah if you can think of a word.
Before the 1st of January. But yeah,
I've gone out after the 1st of January, so
go back
don't bother messaging Hannah. Just go to her Instagram and find out what she came up with.
I came up with. But that's the kind of like vision, I think.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I like that. And I'm guessing there'll be other things like I know you've mentioned to me like having an event for the book, you know, like other things that sort of fits in, doesn't it, with all like the sub goals of things to do. And do you think that's going to be your goal for the whole year, or do you think by the end of the year you'll have moved on to something else? When does your book come out?
March, the end of March. So I don't know, because I do feel like that's going to lead to other opportunities. Yeah. And I feel like because I'm kind of like leaving the year quite open, that there'll be some more exciting stuff happen at the end of the year.
And I do think you have to promote a book for a long time. Yeah. Like shout out to Lucy Werner, who's always talking about how you need to always be launching specifically about books. Because I think sometimes you think, oh, you do the, the pre-sale and you try and get on, well, I don't know, try and get on whatever list, get a certain number of sales or whatever. But actually, she's right. Like you need to be selling it all the time. It's like a product that you can sell forever, basically.
Especially if you want another book in the future, which I would like to do. So I think that's going to be my goal, and I'm just going to see what happens after that, basically. If any opportunities come, I want to be ready for them and be excited.
I like it. I'm excited.
I feel really excited now that I've said that out loud.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
That is really cool.
So what's your goals?
Okay, let me tell you. Well, I've got a few, but I think like you... Actually, now that I think about it, it is one big goal and the others are sub goals.
Okay.
So I haven't said this to anybody.
Not even me.
Not even you. I haven't told you this one.
Okay.
So I started outsourcing some jobs. I I don't want to grow an agency. I don't think. I'm open to like changing my mind on that. But at the moment, I don't want to do that. But I have been working with my friend Lois. She's been doing some work for me and I love it. Like, I've really enjoyed it. And I basically spend a lot of my days thinking, oh, if Lois was here, she could help me do this. You know, there's like loads of things that I feel like I could do better with like someone supporting me. And then I had a coaching session on last Friday with my friend Jo. And basically, I realized that I think my goal is that I want to be able to employ her more.
Nice.
And so my goal is that by the end of the year, so the end of 2024, so I'm giving myself a year to actually get to this point that I am basically earning enough or bringing in enough work that I can employ her 2 days a week.
Nice.
Which is like
does
a
she
big
know
goal.
this?
Yeah, she does know
Does
this.
she want to
She
work
does
for you?
well, but also I'm like, I'm not holding on to it so tight that if things changed for her, you know, like I would just redirect my goal. But it's made me realize that I want more support in growing my business. And although I still want it to be like mine and it be like my personal brand, I think I want to like work with someone else a bit more. And it's like 2 days a week. So it's not like, you know, it's not like we'd be working together because she's got other things. She's a painter. Like she's got other things that she wants to work with. So I think it could work really well. Nice. Yeah, she does know this. But then I was reading my other goals and like a lot of it is how I'm going to increase my income to make that possible. Yeah. So like one of mine is for the first time ever counted up how many clients I had in 2023 and I've made a goal for how many clients I want for 2024. Okay. It's like 6 more, so it's not like loads, but so like have work with more clients. I want to do a much better job of promoting my courses. I think what I'm going to do is give them all a bit of a refresh, like not start from scratch, but like just level them up a little bit so that then I can feel like enjoy promoting them more because I'm like, oh yeah, I've made them even better now. I mean, I think they're really good as they are, but like as in I think, you know, they've been going as they are for a while, so it's good to level them up. And then my other one, which doesn't necessarily there doesn't seem like such a direct link, but similarly to you, is do more public speaking. But I think there is a link in terms of like raising my profile, getting more work, you know, like all of it sort of feeds into marketing my business more effectively. And then my other one, which I would love to do. So I've done 2 virtual tours at Adobe Max and I would love to speak in person. Yeah. Like that'll be on my goals list probably like forever until it happens. So I just sort of like add that one each year. But I feel like they all sort of feed into growing my business so that I can work with Lois 2 days a week. That's my big overarching goal.
I love that because I think a lot of people have a goal of like growth and they don't really know why.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to earn, you know, £1 million a month. And it's like, what do you want that for? Whereas yours is like, I want that so that I can have some extra help.
But you do this, don't you, in some of your workshops where it's like, you ask a question, or maybe I think lots of people do this. This is like a well-known thing. It's like, but why? Yeah. But why? Keep asking why until you get down the thing.
Exactly.
Like down the line. You know, like until you get an answer that's maybe a bit more detailed than just, I want this thing. It's like, but why do you want it? But why do you want it? And then like that is really helpful. Yeah. I feel I am really excited about the goal. And I think, you know, like I might not achieve it. It is quite a big goal. I think I probably have to, you know, like I went through all the numbers when I did this coaching session of what I would need to do to get to that point. And it is like, it's a stretchy goal, you know, like it's not like, oh yeah, that's easy. It's like, I'm going to have to work hard to make this happen. I don't know what my word is going to be for next year yet, but stretchy, maybe. Stretch. I don't know. I can't actually remember what my word was for 2023, which is terrible. This is what always happens to me. But I feel like 2023 was an intense work year for me. Yeah. Like I pushed myself and it was amazing and my business grew and I did lots of amazing things. Like I'm really happy about what I achieved in 2023. Yeah, but the general feeling wasn't amazing in that I feel like I had to work too hard basically to make that happen. So I feel like, and maybe that's just not going to be possible with this stretchy goal that I've set myself, but I definitely want to think about like boundaries. And you know, the thing is though, I think this is the growing pain of growing, right? Yeah. Is that I'm going to have to work harder, but the more help I get, I think it's going to be sort of like a push and pull. You know, like I have to push myself a bit, then I can get more help. Because it might be that I gradually build up to like employing her 2 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to push, you know, then I get extra help. So then I can like pull back a bit and then push for the next, you know, it's sort of going to be incremental potentially.
There's like a tipping point, isn't there? When it's worth, not that it's not worth it, but the what you're putting in with her would balance out what you're getting back with your clients and things like that as well.
And obviously, like you said, there is the big factor into this that this, you know, she might change her mind and her goals might change. And I'm totally open to that. But I think it's just been helpful for me to realize that I enjoy working with other people in my business and I do want more help. So whether it's her or it's someone else, I mean, I want it to be her, but if it's someone else, Lois, if you don't want to do it anymore, that's totally fine. Then that's cool.
I love that. I feel like
I'm excited about our goals. I'm excited about your goals.
I think they're really good. And I think there is a thing that when you're, well, I don't know if this is just us or if this is self-employed life, but do you always look back at the year and think there's more I can do next year? Do you know, like, would you ever be 100% satisfied with the year that you've had?
No, probably not 100% satisfied, but I do feel really content. Like, I look back on the year and I'm not sitting there being like, oh, I didn't do all these things. I'm like, oh, I did a lot of stuff. Like, I'm really chuffed about that. Like, I'm really pleased with what I've done. Like, I've always got a list of more that I want to do. So I'm never going into a new year being like, oh, yeah, done it all.
Same as last year.
Yeah. But also, I do think that is okay. If like, actually, I think maintaining a certain level of your business can be a goal. And maybe it's that I've heard people talk about, like, I think often we equate growth with like financial growth, but often it can be you earn the exact same, but you become more efficient or you set up automation so that you're not having to work as much to earn the same and you've got more capacity to spend time with family. Like, I definitely think there's different ways of scaling your business that aren't always financial, which is good to remember. So it's not always about doing more. Sometimes it's just like about maintaining, but like improving your processes and stuff maybe.
Yeah, and thinking about what you want from that year ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I do. I mean, I have mixed feelings about the word of the year, but I do. I mean, it doesn't work great for me because I forget what it is.
I feel like yours was a consistency or something like that.
If it was, then I could look back on my Instagram. If it was consistency, I feel like I've done that. I've been more consistent in my business than ever. But anyway, I'll go back and have a look at what it is. And I probably will have, since this is going out later in January, I probably will have announced what my word for this year is. I'll have come up with something. Amazing. I'm really, what I love about our like work friendship is that I feel really excited to like support you in your goal for this next year and cheer you on. Everyone go and pre-order Hannah's book because you can pre-order it already. What's the title?
The Best 90 Days Ever. How 10-minute
I didn't know that.
Can transform your business one day at a time.
Nice.
I think that's the subtitle.
The subtitle. Yeah. Just Google Hannah Isted on Amazon. Yeah. And it's there, or wherever you want to buy books. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with another episode next week.
Exciting.